The sun was high in the sky, a blazing orb of gold against the canvas of a perfect blue. It was one of those days where the weather seemed to promise nothing but joy and adventure. Laughter echoed through the trees, the carefree sounds of two friends, Alex and Clive, on a day hike. Their voices carried through the forest, mingling with the rustling leaves and distant bird calls. They were deep in the heart of the mountain range, surrounded by towering pines and the intoxicating scent of pine needles warming in the sun. The forest was alive with the sounds of nature, a symphony of life that seemed to welcome them. Their backpacks were light, their spirits high, and the world seemed to shimmer with the promise of adventure. Every step they took felt like a step into a story waiting to be told.
Let's see where this goes.
Alex, ever the explorer, pointed to a barely visible trail branching off the main path, his eyes twinkling with mischief. He loved the thrill of the unknown, the excitement of discovering something new.
Why not? A little detour never hurt anyone.
Clive, ever cautious, hesitated for a moment before a grin spread across his face. He trusted Alex's instincts, even if they sometimes led them into unexpected situations. Little did they know their detour would lead them down a path far darker and more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. The forest seemed to close in around them, shadows growing longer and more menacing with each step. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew heavy, the sunlight struggling to penetrate the increasingly dense canopy. The once playful banter faded into an uneasy silence. A chill ran down Clive's spine, an unwelcome contrast to the warmth of the sun on his skin. They stumbled upon a clearing, and there, looming before them like a spectre from a forgotten nightmare, was the entrance to an abandoned mine. Boarded up and dilapidated, it stood as a silent testament to a bygone era. Rusted metal teeth protruded from the mineshaft like a gaping maw. Crudely painted signs, barely clinging to the decaying wood, screamed warnings. Danger! Keep out, mineshaft unstable. Turn back while you can. Despite the ominous aura of the place, Alex couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. Years of watching paranormal documentaries had instilled in him not fear, but a thrill of anticipation.
Dude, check it out, an actual abandoned mine. This is straight out of Ghost Mine.
Clive, less enthused, trailed behind, his unease growing with every step.
Clive, maybe we should just turn back. Those signs aren't there for decoration.
But Clive, caught up in his own excitement, just laughed.
Relax, man. It's probably just some old ghost stories to scare people off. You don't actually believe in that stuff, do you?
Ignoring Clive's protests, Alex pried away a loose plank from the boarded-up entrance, his determination unwavering despite the eerie surroundings. A gust of stale, musty air rushed out, carrying with it the scent of decay and something else, something indescribable that sent a shiver down Clive's spine. It was as if the mine itself was exhaling, warning them of the dangers that lay within.
See? Nothing to be scared of, Alex said, trying to mask his own unease.
Alex said, flashing a confident grin as he ducked inside. Clive, his heart pounding in his chest, reluctantly followed, feeling the weight of the darkness pressing down on him. The inside of the mine was dark and oppressive, the air thick with dust and the silence almost deafening. Every step they took seemed to stir up ancient memories long forgotten by the world above. The only light came from the narrow opening they had created, a single ray slicing through the darkness, offering a fleeting sense of hope. They ventured deeper, their footsteps echoing off the damp earthen walls. The sound seemed to amplify their isolation, making the mine feel like a living, breathing entity. The playful banter had completely vanished, replaced by a tense silence broken only by their own ragged breathing. Each step forward felt like a step into the unknown, a journey into the very belly of the beast. Suddenly the air grew frigid, a bone-chilling cold that seemed to claw at their lungs.
The hair on Clive's arm stood on end, and a primal fear, instinctive and overwhelming, gripped him. Before he could even scream, an unseen force slammed into him, lifting him off his feet.
He turned to Alex, his mouth opening to voice his terror, but no sound came out.
He was hurled against the rocky ceiling, the impact stealing his breath, and then he was plummeting back down into the darkness.
Alex spun around, his eyes wide with disbelief as he saw Clive disappear into the black abyss.
"Clive!" he screamed, his voice echoing emptily in the darkness.
A moment of silence, then a blood-curdling scream ripped through the mine, followed by a sickening thud. Alex fumbled for his flashlight, his hand shaking so violently he could barely switch it on. The beam flickered to life, illuminating the horror that awaited him.
Clive was suspended upside down, his feet tangled in thick chains dangling from the ceiling, his face contorted in terror.
Below him, a wooden board with strange symbols lay on the ground, a planchette resting on its surface. The Ouija Board.
A disembodied voice, raspy and ancient, echoed through the mine. "Join us," it commanded, each word dripping with malice.
Alex, paralyzed with fear, could only watch in horror as the planchette began to move on its own, gliding across the board, spelling out a message from beyond the grave.
"Help me."
Clive choked out, his voice barely a whisper. But his plea was cut short as a guttural growl emanated from him, his body convulsing violently. His eyes, once filled with terror, now glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light. His tongue lolled out, elongated and serpentine, and began to draw strange symbols on the dusty mine floor. The symbols pulsed with an eerie green light, the air growing thick with the stench of sulfur.
"Clive, what's happening to you?"
Alex stammered, backing away slowly, his voice trembling. The once familiar features of his friend were morphing, twisting into something monstrous and grotesque. His skin turned a sickly grey, his fingernails lengthening into sharp claws. 2 days later, the local police, alerted by worried family members who had not heard from their loved ones, discovered the entrance to the mine. The air was thick with tension and fear as they approached. A grisly tableau awaited them inside, a scene straight out of a nightmare. Clive's mangled body lay sprawled on the ground, drained of all blood, his organs missing, his face frozen in a horrifying silent scream. The sight was almost too much to bear. The Ouija board lay shattered beside him, the planchette pointing accusingly at his lifeless hand. It was as if the board itself had condemned him. Alex was found further in, his body contorted at an unnatural angle, his eyes wide with a terror so profound it seemed to emanate from him even in death. The horror etched on his face was indescribable. The police recovered Alex's GoPro camera, its lens shattered, a silent witness to the unspeakable events that had unfolded. The footage, though corrupted and incomplete, revealed a chilling glimpse into the horrors they had encountered. It was a fragmented window into their final moments. Whispering voices, shadows moving in the darkness, and then that final blood-curdling scream as the camera cut to black. The terror was palpable even through the distorted video.
This is unbelievable. How could anyone survive such horror?
How could something like this happen? It's beyond comprehension. A true nightmare come to life.
The footage from the GoPro showed one final terrifying image before it cut out completely. A thick white mist swirling with an unnatural energy had filled the mine shaft. Two figures, barely discernible in the swirling mist, appeared before the camera. Their eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and their grins were predatory, inhuman. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the mist dissipated, revealing the limp bodies of Alex and Clive collapsing onto the mine floor. The figures were gone, vanished back into the darkness from whence they came. The footage ended, leaving behind a chilling silence and 1,000 unanswered questions.
What in the world did we just see?
I don't even know how to process this.
The abandoned mine remains sealed off, a chilling reminder of the unspeakable horrors that unfolded within its depths. Locals whisper tales of the two hikers, their laughter forever silenced, their souls claimed by the darkness that resides within the mountain. The mine stands as a stark warning, a testament to the ancient evils that lurk just beyond the veil of our reality, waiting for the unsuspecting to stumble into their grasp. And somewhere in the echoing silence of that abandoned mine, the Ouija board lies in wait, a conduit to the other side, forever stained with the terror of that fateful day.